Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television is sponsored by Potash Corp of White Springs. Potash Corp, helping nature provide.
Hello everyone and welcome to Perspective. This is a public affairs presentation of Florida Gateway College. My name is Mike McKee and my guest on the program today is Chief Agatha Gilmore. She's been the police chief at the Lake City Police Department since September of 2009. We're going to talk about policing the city of Lake City. We'll be talking about some programs that she's implemented at the Lake City Police Department. Everything that you wanted to know about the Lake City Police Department, you're going to find out today. We'll be back. Talk to the chief in just a minute. Welcome back to Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television. My guest on the program is Chief Agatha Gilmore. She has been at the Lake City Police Department a little more than 6 years?
5.5
Five and a half years. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike.
It's the first time we've had a chance to chat. You've done a lot of stuff at the Lake City Police Department, implemented a lot of programs. I want to first, let's get a basic idea. The city of Lake City is, part of it is 90 West.
Yes.
Part of it is out here toward the college. So it's quite a large area. Your officers patrol quite a lot of area.
Yes, Mike. We have at least about a 12.1 square miles policing the city. One of the things that we found out, even though we have about approximately 12,000 residents within our city, we have about a 45,000 service population because of the transient that we have in our.
And that is the hotels and the restaurants all along US 90.
Yes.
And
yes.
so you're there. You're at Walmart.
We're at Walmart. One of our greatest service providers that we give service to is Walmart.
Yeah.
Because of the constant issues and concerns that we have coming from Walmart.
Shoplifting and petty theft.
Absolutely. All of the above. When we look at our crime statistics, we will find that larceny and theft, that location is the area where we mostly have most of our officers responding to.
You know, and I bet the folks that live in the city of Lake City that live off of 41 or 441 didn't realize that your police officers go all the way out that far.
Yes, we do.
And that's, I guess, annexation has brought a lot of these businesses that are along US 90 into the city limits. So,
yes.
Is it funny sometimes? I think I'm in the city. I don't know whether I'm in the city. Do you ever get those phone calls?
It is very interesting because, especially on 90, how sometimes we have the street right across from another location where we've been, that's in the county. But whenever anyone calls us, we're going to respond.
Right. Now let's talk about being a police officer. Probably when you started as a police officer, things were a lot different than they are in 2015. What are some of the challenges that your guys and gals are facing as police officers in the city? Well, I guess it would be overall. I mean, the whole country's facing similar situations.
Absolutely, Mike. That's a very good question. In recent events that has happened across the country, that's highlighted most of the media for us in law enforcement, and that is the distrust of the police, the transparency, and the use of force. So not only is that nationwide, many law enforcement executives are finding out that we have to deal with that in our local community, and we have to develop ways and means of how we can make sure that the community will trust the police department and know that we're there to provide the best service.
I think part of the issues that people have is when they shoot video, you know, everybody's got a camera on their phone. If you have a camera on your phone, and so a lot of these incidents get from one vantage point, they don't get the whole story a lot of times, and then there's reaction to what people see. And as with social media, I guess it's even worse.
Absolutely, because one of the things that we're finding out, and that's why the controversy with the body camera is out there for law enforcement as well, and certainly the Lake City Police Department will be looking at body cameras as a way of piloting and to see if it will work here in the department. We certainly will be mindful of the constitutional rights of our citizens, but because there are so many other media outlets for citizens to use, we want to ensure that we're using the best technology for what we can do for our citizens, and to ensure that we are using technology for the best of what we can do for enforcement.
Now, and we hadn't planned on this, but with these body cameras, do they stay on all the time?
It's just like I told another civic group, your phone has an on and off. We have policies that governs what we will use to record. If it's not needful, we don't need to record it, we will turn it off. And I understand that some people have some concerns about those things, but we will ensure that we will respect the constitutional rights of our citizens and will only use the cameras when it is needful. As a matter of fact, we have cameras on our tasers, and a lot of people don't realize that. When we use our taser, we turn it on immediately. When we turn it on, that camera, it is being recorded, what is happening at that time.
Well, I guess you got to worry about the police officer's privacy as well. I mean, I can see forgetting to turn your camera off and going into the bathroom, so level of privacy would be on the police officer's end too. So there's a lot of challenges that face police officers in this day and age, and as a manager of many police officers, you've got to be thinking about this stuff. Let me ask you a question about interacting with the police. It seems like in the old days, it was you were respectful of a police officer and you were respectful of other people around you. Now, there seems to be almost a lack of respect for police officers if you get pulled over, like, I didn't do it, or, do you see that a lot, that people don't know how to react to being pulled over?
Yes, we're seeing that. We're trying our best to educate our citizens on the best way to interact with the police. I call it the 3 C's. The first C is courtesy. The second is, let me back up. I would say comply is the first. The second is courtesy, and the third is complain. When an officer is approaching a car, approaching a citizen, we're just asking for compliance. Second, courtesy. And the third, complain. There is a time and a place to complain. It is not at the time when an officer is conducting a traffic stop. It's not at the time when they're legally and lawfully doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, let me ask you, police officers don't know who they're pulling over. If you're speeding and you pull someone over, you don't know what this person has done. You don't know whether they've robbed a bank, whether they've been in a hit-and-run accident. You don't know why they're speeding in the first place. There's a lot of variables and unknowns that the police officer doesn't know.
Again, absolutely. Mike, I would tell you the many videos, dash cams that have been recorded from police. We have seen so many officers get killed in the line of duty by simply a traffic stop. We have seen where people will get out of their car and just immediately start shooting the officers. Those are the kinds of things that our citizens do not see, but those are the kind of things that we train our officers to do. The way we approach the vehicle, the information that we receive, because it is very important that we get the information and it's recorded, because if that person gets away, at least we have a name, we have the kind of car and the tag, because we want our officers to go home at the end of the day.
Well, and also talk about, and I didn't even think about this till just speaking to you now, but there may be someone on drugs or alcohol that are not thinking rationally. And so you have to also take that into consideration.
Absolutely. All of those factors are going through an officer's mind when they are interacting with citizens as well. People they don't know. We don't even know if they just escaped from prison. So we're trying to use the utmost of officer safety when we are approaching citizens. So we have to be careful.
And you and I were talking before we did the show about a lot of traffic stops don't end up in a ticket or a citation. Talk about your officers give out more warnings than you do citations, correct?
Yes. As a matter of fact, during our breakfast with the chief, that is the time we give a report card to our citizens. And inevitably, what we find, we have given more traffic warnings than traffic citations, because the bottom line is this: we want compliance. If we can get compliance from the citizens, that's what we're looking for. If there is some egregious act, or we have a system where we're able to tell if we have stopped that car more than one time, then at that time it might be warranted a traffic citation at that time, because we want the other drivers on the road to be just as safe as those poor persons who are violating the law.
I wish they'd bring back driver's ed, because I think a lot of traffic problems that occur is because people just don't realize that that's the rules of the road. And I wanted to ask you about the traffic stop. What is the best way to handle that? Now, I know that when I was younger, I got pulled over for speeding, I got real nervous. Is that typical for people who get pulled over?
Mike, that is typical for everyone. When the red light comes on in the back of your rear view mirror and you're being stopped, you are going to get nervous. That is the case.
And that's because there's a perception you've done something wrong, and nobody wants to do anything wrong, right?
And usually it is either your tag light is out, your headlight is out, something is out that has caused that officer to stop that vehicle. So either we're going to give a warning or we're going to give a citation. But there's a reason for the stop. And yes, we understand nervousness, but we also have to make sure that the road is safe for our drivers.
And you would want someone that has a bad brake light, you don't want someone running into the back of somebody. So you should wait for the officer. You don't get out of the car, correct? Let's talk us through a traffic stop and what the officer expects and what people should know about a traffic stop.
The first thing that happens when an officer is going to make a traffic stop, they will call in the tag to our communication center. When that tag is called in, immediately our communication officer is running that tag to ensure the car is not stolen, the tag is not stolen, who is supposed to be registered to. So those things are happening while the traffic stop, before the citizen pulls over to the side of the road or to a parking lot, to ensure that there's a safe place for them to make the traffic stop.
You don't want them pulling in the road. You want them
off
off the road where it's safe.
Where it's safe, because we want not only the officer to be safe, we want everybody to be safe, and that they can see the traffic stop has occurred, and that's why we have the move over law as well. Okay. Secondly, what we do is the officer is approaching the vehicle. When the officer is approaching the vehicle, he usually is already called in how many occupants are in the vehicle, checking the trunk to make sure that it's not open, that's safe as well. And when they are approaching the driver, they're then asking for driver's license, registration, and insurance card. Those are the top three things that a citizen should be able to produce to an officer when a traffic stop occurs. Usually we do want all of the citizens to stay in the vehicle because it's a better containment for the officer. So therefore, we want you to stay in that car unless we're asking you to get out of the car. 90% of the time, we're asking you to stay in the car.
So that's for safety reasons as well, because you don't want someone out on the road, especially if they're impaired, or the safety of the officer and the person needs to be foremost. Let's talk about what happens next. Is you either get a warning or a citation. Is it up to the officer's discretion if say a taillight's out and you really didn't know it? Does the officer have the discretion to say, you know what, I'm going to give you a warning because you probably didn't know this was happening? Is that how it works?
That is how it works. We don't have quotas. It is definitely officer's discretion of what they will give to a citizen. Usually, if it is a faulty equipment, the officer will give a citation where they will only have several days to get it fixed. If they get it fixed, they come back, the officer signs off on it, shows that it's been fixed, probably about $9 at the most, where that citizen will have to pay for that citation. But it is their discretion. If they feel that that person deserves a break, give them a break. If they feel like they deserve a citation, they get the citation. It is the officer's discretion at that time.
Well, and you mentioned courtesy is something that an officer would expect, and what a citizen would expect from a police officer as well. If you're arguing or if you're a little loud, that's not a real good thing to do when you're being pulled over.
That goes back to my 3 C's. That goes back to my 3 C's. Comply, do what the officer says. Courtesy, you have no idea how often officers get cursed out, call out different names. The courtesy will work into their favor. Third is complain. Complain is not the time to do on the side of the road. That is the time you can ask for a supervisor. When you get completed with the traffic stop, you can at that time drive to the police department, ask to speak to the supervisor. Of course, ask to speak to me at any time. Those are the things that we're looking for. It is not the time to get into an argument with that officer doing a traffic stop. We expect compliance and we expect courtesy, because that's what is expected from the officer as well, to do that. And when that happens, that should be a quick traffic stop and everybody's on their way.
Just be human beings to each other. That's all you ask, right?
That's all we ask.
I want to talk about another challenge that it seems like it's gotten worse and worse as the years go by and the technology is more out there. Distracted drivers, texting, and social media. It's against the law in Florida to text and drive, correct?
It is against the law, and we see people doing it quite often during their driving. And we're asking citizens, don't text and drive. I will tell you, I believe it's a very difficult statute to enforce because we have to actually see it. However, during a traffic crash, what happens during that time? If a traffic crash occurs, we can ask to look at your phone and kind of determine at the time of the crash, were you texting at the time? So there are things that we're looking at how to better enforce that and how better to determine if a driver was texting at the time a traffic crash occurred. But that is one thing that we're finding, that distracted driving is such a high statistic for causing traffic crashes.
Well, and it's sad that the only way you really find out whether someone's been texting is when they're involved in an accident.
Yes.
I told you the other day when we were talking that I've been driving on Bay Avenue and people have swerved into my lane, and you look and they've got their texting device. So, again, it's against the law. You mentioned that I know in California it's against the law to even talk on your phone, even with a hands-free device. But is that where Florida's going, do you think?
I think eventually it will. What's unfortunate, it all sometimes takes tragedies to cause it to get on the agenda of our legislators or lobbyist groups to look at those kinds of things. I think hands-free phones are a lot of what the car industry is going towards, so that it's not that much distraction. But I will tell you, hands-free, any kind of distraction in the car, picking up something that's dropped, tending to a child in the car, eating, or all those various things that occur that are distractions when you're driving. You should give full attention to your driving to ensure the safety of yourself and those others who are on the road driving with you as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but eating and texting while you're driving are three things you shouldn't be doing together. We're running out of time here. I want to talk about the Explorer program, which you started here at the Lake City Police Department. It's for young people. Talk about the Explorer program and what it's all about. What do you teach these young people?
That is an exciting program for us, the Explorers program, because one of the things we want to do is to look at young people from ages 14 till 18 and teach leadership skills. And not only teach leadership skills, we're also looking at the interaction between police and young people, because we're finding out that sometimes parents think it's cute, I'm going to get the police at you and those kind of things, but we want to avoid those kinds of perceptions with the police. So we're teaching them leadership skills, we're teaching them, we're actually really taking them through a mini police academy. They get to handcuff, we go through arrest procedures, writing reports, we're doing all of those kinds of things. They get to ride along with the officers. So more importantly, we're teaching leadership skills. The second important thing is we want them to become leaders, and we want them to become leaders within the police department. So we're looking at them to incorporate them into our police.
And I think you're very smart by doing this, but you're also recruiting.
Absolutely.
The future generation of police officers.
We're recruiting, as a matter of fact. I will tell you, we have at least 2 to 3 young men who have gone through our police the Explorers Police Academy, and they're currently and now the Police Academy.
So it's working out.
It's working out, and we're looking at one to hire.
Now, you also started a thing called the Citizens Police Academy, which I think is a brilliant idea. Talk about that. This is for adults.
This is for adults. So we have the Explorers program, and now we have the Citizens Police Academy. We have now over 100 citizens who have gone through this program. One of the amazing things that have happened when they are finished with the program, I have heard numerous of times what I thought about the police. It is not the case. We become transparent, we expose ourselves, they get a chance to put a gun in their hand. We have what we call a simulator. We actually put them in the shoes of the police and have to make split-second decisions. We also allow them to be internal affairs investigators. We allow them to conduct traffic investigations, and they have walked out of that 12-week program learning more about the police, and we're exposing ourselves to the transparency of what we're doing as law enforcement officers.
And this is, when you say that people don't know what police, if you walk a mile in a policeman's shoes, you kind of get a feeling for what they have to go through on a daily basis, because it's not, you don't hold anything back. If they're making traffic stops on a Friday night and they're dealing with maybe someone who's inebriated, they get a whole different picture on what cops are all about.
Not only are they getting the academics of it, Mike, but they're also getting an opportunity to ride along. So they've been in the classroom, they understand what we're doing, they're able to ask the tough questions, the hard questions, and at the same time, at any time, they're able to ride with an officer and they get a front seat view of what that officer is doing.
And let me ask you about the jail. Do they get to go with an arrest if it happens to happen that
If it's
night?
an arrest, they get to go to the jail. They get
Now, how
to see
scary?
everything.
Talk about that a little bit. That's scary for anyone to go to the jail, because you don't see the best of Lake City when you go to the jail.
They don't. Now, of course, the jail part is part of the sheriff's office
Right.
in terms of what they do, but they get an opportunity to see the arrest procedures of what we're doing. They're able to ride with the officer to the jail and see that first part of the booking process.
Yeah, and it's not always a pretty picture.
It's not a pretty picture.
I wanted to also talk about something that you've brought back. I think for a couple years there was no policeman's ball. Frank Owens, the chief before you, a couple chiefs before you, I guess, started the policeman's ball, and you brought it back. Talk about what this means to the department and what you hope to accomplish by the policeman's ball.
Just as we have the Citizens Police Academy, the Policeman's Ball is one way that we give back to our community. We're a part of this community. We're part of the fabric of this community. So we seek out charitable organizations, and what we do is give money to that organization to say, listen, we're with you with what you're going through. We want to be your support financially for you. We bring the community together to raise funds for an organization that's needing assistance. Not only that, it is a time where the community can have fun with the police department. It's not where you're getting a traffic stop or there's an arrest, but that is an opportunity to come together and have fun. There's dancing, there's food. Of course, the casino was a big hit last year. We're bringing the casino back big and better. No, we're not gambling. We're giving some fun things away, but it's a time where we can really have a great time together with the community.
And it's at the Armory here in Lake City off Lake Jeffrey Road. It's May the 9th. Tickets are available. Can they call the...
Tickets are available, $50 for the ticket. Krista Thomas, she's our community relations coordinator. She's been doing an outstanding job. We have an exciting entertainment this time that I think everyone in the community is going to really enjoy. We were trying to decide whether we wanted to make it a surprise or whether we're going to tell everyone what the wonderful entertainment is going to be this time. But we're looking for a fun evening with the community.
It's May the 9th. If you call the police department, please don't dial 911. Let's show the telephone number up here if you'd like more information. If you'd like more information on the Explorer program, Citizens Police Academy, the Policeman's Ball, or if you want information on talking to the chief about a problem you're having or a situation you're having, she's got an open door policy, the number 752-4343. You can log on to www.lcflorida.com and under departments, the Lake City Police Department is there. And That's a nice graphic, Carrie. That's really a nice.
It really is.
Did a
I'm
real
impressed.
good job on that. Chief, thank you so much for being on the program. Wish you the best of success with the Policeman's Ball on May the 9th. And thank you for watching Perspective here on Florida Gateway College Television. Until next time, I'm Mike McKee. So long.